What's going on YouTube? My name is FG3000. I'm back in the place to be and welcome back to Heir of Light. Now in today's video, I want to share a few tips on how to power up your characters. I've started to see a lot of posts complaining that the game feels too hard on the Reddit, on the Facebook, on the Discord. People are struggling to pass stages, the 3-star stages. In this video, I hope to share a few tips to help you power up your characters because you do not need to dig into the cash shop, at least not today. You don't need to dig in the cash shop for 4 and 5-star units to complete the content. You can easily do it with your 2, 3-star and 4-star units that you get for free. So let me share a few tips on how to power up your characters, starting off with the elemental system. Now, this is a very popular system that we see in lots of hero collectors. Water beats fire, fire beats forest, and light and darkness kind of cancel each other out. That's a very popular system that's in a lot of these hero collectors, but in this game, it is paramount to use those systems. If you do not use those systems, you will die. If you bring a grass unit to a fire stage, you're just going to get owned. So you have to pay attention to the elemental system. You have to have a well-rounded team powered up and leveled up in order to defeat those stages and to 3-star them. So bringing the right elemental system is imperative. Another thing that you really have to pay attention to is the fact that when you bring a certain team, make sure you pay attention to your passive. Look at this passive. 15% defense of all allies. That is an amazing passive. If you don't bring a passive to your squad, that is a massive amount of power that you are missing out on. Are you always going to be able to do that? No, but you really need to make sure that to the best of your ability that you bring someone that has a passive that can help you, because like I said, that is night and day. 15% defense is just amazing. So that's number 2. You want to make sure that you're bringing the right elemental. So you'll see these arrow ups as you can see on all 4 of my characters here. And then you want to the best of your ability, bring a character that provides a passive to your entire party, because that is huge. Also, the rune system. Take a look at these runes right here that appear under your main character. If you can, you want to make sure that you bring 3 runes to the fight. At least 2, at the very least 1. Basically, these right here are your combo systems. And after you've played the game for a while, you realize that doing combos are the strongest attacks in the game. And if you have 3, that means you have 3 potential combos to use in the encounter. If you only bring 1, you only have 1 combo to do, right? So the more combos you bring, the better. At least 2 at the very least to ensure that you do the most amount of damage possible, all right? So bring the right element. Make sure you have a passive and make sure you have combos. Not to mention, you always want to bring a tank. Sometimes you can get away with not bringing a healer. You can bring more DPS to try to DPS it down, but it depends on how strong your tanks are. This is something that I really want you guys to focus on if you're struggling on stages, is making sure that your most powerful unit level-wise is a tank. Once your tank dies, it's pretty much GG. So you definitely want to have a tank powered up in every single color. That way you have a much easier time being able to kind of outlast these bosses. So that's super important. When it comes to leveling up your units, the way you level up units in this game obviously is through combat. So you definitely want to bring the units that you want to level up into stages, but you also, the very best way to level up units in this game is through the rare summon system. So when you get little 1-star units like these, you need to use these to level up your tanks. This is what you use these units for. Don't save them. Immediately once you get a 1-star unit, take that 1-star unit and use it to power up a unit. So I'll show you right now how that works. I'll go to character. I'm trying to power up my green tank right now. So take these 1-star units and just feed them into the characters that you want to level up. And then once you get a really nice solid unit of 3 stars, you want to use your 2 stars to do the same exact thing and use your 2 stars to level up your 3 stars, and then use your 3 stars to level up your 4 stars once you have a nice well-rounded team. If they don't have levels, they will be destroyed, all right? So that's super important. The rune system is also extremely important. Let's take a look at this and I'll show you kind of firsthand. So the rune system is pretty straightforward. You see these in lots of hero collectors. So if I equip 2 different runes here, if I equip 2 of the same runes, I'm sorry, as you can see, I get a life set bonus of 17 HP. But this game works a little different than most games. A lot of other games that use rune systems, they do it where you have to use 2 runes of one set and then 4 runes of another set. Here, you can actually stack the same rune set to get even more. So I'll show you firsthand here. Look at that, even more HP. And if I want to keep going, Look at that, 3 stacks of HP 17. So you can really stack up your tanks and you can really emphasize stats that you want depending on what kind of class it is. So if your tanks, you want to stack defense and HP. For your DPS, you obviously want to stack attack or crit or something like that. Another thing when it comes to enhancing your runes, at every three level intervals. So at level 3, at level 6, at level 9, at level 12, you get an additional stat for your rune. As you can see, it just turned green. If I get this thing up to level 6, it'll turn blue, and I'll get another stat. Once it goes from 6 to 9, I get another stat. And once it goes from 9 to 12, you get another stat. So if you don't have your runes enhanced, once again, you're not gonna be strong enough to do encounters in this game. So once we get this thing up to level 6, I'll show you. And it tells you right here, create a bonus stat. So give it some time. Gold is a very precious resource, so you don't want to use it willy-nilly. Oh, am I out of gold? Kind of lagged out there a little bit. Uh-oh. All right, the game crashed there, but as you can see, once I hit level 6, now it turns blue and I get an additional stat. So if you are trying your best to min-max, you want to make sure that you have all these turn green or blue or the next level purple and things like that to maximize how much strength you're bringing into combat. So the rune system is imperative. You cannot ignore it. Like I said, there's a lot of other hero collectors that give people kind of bad habits where you can kind of ignore these features. You can't really ignore these features and hope to get 3 stars on every stage. You can't ignore the elemental system and expect to get 3 stars on every stage. You have to basically use every advantage you have in order to make your team as powerful as possible. Another thing that you cannot ignore is the skill system. So if you take this little rat right here, if you combine the same rat, so if you combine a duplicate inside of him, you unlock skills. So we'll go ahead and show you this. Success. There you go, and as you can see, boom, his pouch of destitution goes from level 0 to level 1. Once again, that's fantastic because it also gives him additional damage. Damage by 30%. You cannot ignore these stats when you're trying to 3-star hard in difficult stages. So, like I said, those are a few different tips in the character screen right here. Bringing the right elemental, powering up your runes, and then of course using your duplicates in order to power up your characters. Now, you can use duplicates of a different color as well. So I can take this blue dupe and power it into my green dupe, but just make sure that it's a color that you don't need. If you need a blue, don't get rid of your blue yet until you have something that can replace it. So that is that. Now, in addition to that, you're probably wondering, how on earth do you get more of these summoning crystals? It's actually really easy to get a ton of summoning crystals if you know what you're looking for. So let's go back into the world map. There is, like I said in a previous video, there are different elemental types on each one of these nodes. Here are the forest, here are the dark ones, here are the light ones, here are the fire ones, and here are the water ones. Every single elemental type has its own reward structure. So as you defeat these water stages, you get gold, you get cash shop currency. Look at this one. You get cash shop currency, you get 15 summoning crystals here, and the rewards keep going and keep going and keep going. The dark one, 5 summoning crystals, cash shop currency. And these rewards just continue on the more you power up through your characters. Cash shop currency, gold. And this one right here, whoop, this is the PvP node, that's a different video. Gold, cash shop currency. So by defeating these elemental stages, you accrue more and more summoning stones that you can use to turn around, summon more characters that you can use to turn around and power up your units and make them more and more powerful. And what you'll start to notice is that you'll power up a bunch of your fire units in these green stages, and then you can use those fire units in the fire stage. You don't necessarily have to use water. You can use your powered up fire units on these stages here because you would have leveled up a bunch of your fire units via these green stages. So eventually you get to a point where you get a circle of power where you continue to get more and more powerful by doing these other stages. Now, once you get to the point where the fire stages are too hard, like these right here are level 15, level 16, level 16, guess what? Then run over here to the dark stages and do the dark stages, level 13, level 14. level 15, level 16. Once the dark stages become too hard, run over here to the light stages because these are level 13, 14. Once those get too hard, run over here to the water stages and do these. What you'll find as you bounce around to these different elemental types, your team will continue to get stronger and stronger and stronger. You'll keep getting more and more rewards and your team will get stronger, right? If you're playing this game very linear, you're gonna run into a wall where you cannot proceed. And that's what I think a lot of people are running into. They're just trying to just go in a straight line. You're not supposed to go in a straight line in this game. You're supposed to power up via all of these element types and via all these element type rewards. Like, this is a big difference. As you can see, once I'm done with these green stages, I'm gonna get 15 summoning stones. I'll be able to use those 15 summoning stones to really power up my team, and then I can go rip through these other stages. So that's something that you really have to keep in mind when you're powering through this game, is that it is not a linear straight line race when it comes to building power in this game. And once you kind of defeat a bunch of these elemental stages, if you find yourself struggling, go to the generic stages. Look at these, level 13, level 13, level 13. So I have a lot of content within my level that I can use to power up my squad here. And then one thing, if you get to a stage and you find out that it's just way too hard and you just die. Don't go through the, let me show you here in a second. Let's get into this fight real quick. Let's just say that this fight is going extremely bad and it's clear that I'm going to lose. Don't end battle, just die. Just let the boss kill you. Because even if you die, you still get EXP. So that just helps you over time to get more and more powerful. If you find stages that you just can't beat, eventually you're gonna get enough experience points to level through it and to level past it. So extremely, extremely important. And like I said, I'm ripping through this stage because I powered up on other elemental stages. But had you went straight for the light stages, you would find yourself just screwed over and not powerful enough to defeat them. So just something to keep in mind there. Also bring a healer. If you can bring a healer, definitely bring one. So that's easy stage, and like I said, I can rip through these and get all of the rewards. The final way to level up your squad is the slowest way, but it's still something that you should always do every single time you log in. Join a guild as fast as possible, and then use this training ground system. Basically what you can do is kind of put your units that you want to level up in these training grounds, and they will gain EXP over time passively. It's the slowest way to do it, but you still might as well do it because every bit of EXP counts. So that's that. Hopefully that kind of helps you guys level up a little bit more intelligently when it comes to this game, because I think a lot of people that are complaining that the game is too hard is because they're trying to level in a straight line. They're not doing the leveling process in a way where they maximize their strengths. Once again, when it comes to maximizing your strengths, that's a really good topic, and that's where we'll end the video, is that if you happen to pull a lot of really good fire units, focus on these 4 stages first. That's what I did. My most powerful units are fire, so I focused a lot on these green stages first, and then I bounced over to the fire, then water, then everything else became easier and easier as I had a more well-rounded team. So that's something that you should focus on as well. But that will do it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I think we covered everything we need to cover when it comes to leveling up your squad. Here we go. Let's do another summon because I just earned yet another summoning stone. Please do not forget to constantly open these. Constantly open them. Constantly feed them to your other units because that is where the bulk of your power will come from. And last but not least, don't be afraid to change your main character as well because that will help you capitalize on the elemental types. So that will do it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Once again, my name is FG3000. If you need any help in this game, let me know in the comment section below and I'll try my best. But we're all pretty much new at the same time, so let's kind of figure it out together. So I'm out. See you next video. Later.